Hello there. There have been many attacks on Elon Musk as he, does what he and Trump promised to do, audits the government and shuts down anything that they deem to be either a waste of taxpayer money, corruption, or against the interests and culture of the people of the United States. The Democrats, of course, oppose this, but they have had particular criticisms that, in my opinion, are worth going over and answering because, honestly, there's a lot of hypocrisy to go around here. So Democrats take aim at Elon Musk. It's the first sign of unified opposition for a rudderless and leaderless Democratic Party, so saith the New York Times. For 8 years, Democrats saw Donald Trump as the most toxic brand in politics, a singular figure who unified the separate factions and filled the political coffers with campaign contributions. The limits of that strategy became evident in November. They're now turning their attention to a new supervillain, Elon Musk. In the early weeks of the second Trump administration, Democrats are seeking to highlight the prominence of Musk, the polarizing technology mogul in the new administration. So essentially what they're saying that it's a better idea for them politically to attack Musk than Trump for various reasons. And essentially, the accusation is Musk is using his money and his power over social media to influence the government. Right? Musk has dispatched a fleet of young men from his companies to gain access to closely held financial and data systems, charter specific programs, and encourage federal employees to quit their jobs. He used X, his own giant social media platform, to shame and attack those who've tried to block his efforts. Liberal activists once waved signs depicting cartoonish mobs of orange hair. Now demonstrators outside government buildings carry hand-painted placards announcing that nobody elected Elon. That's something that the Democratic Party keeps repeating. I'm talking specifically about their elected representatives. Nobody elected Elon Musk to any office, and he's an unelected oligarch that's taking over the government. They keep saying that. So let's talk for a moment about unelected. We have had Kamala Harris, the first unelected nominee for president in the history of the United States. And if you remember, when she tried in 2020, yeah, this is a political article, the paid shills of the Democratic government that got all those millions from USAID under Biden and Obama. And this is what they have to say. Harris's admirers, not to mention aides and members of her inner circle, detest the mere thought of that painful time, specifically talking about her 2020 election bid, where she failed utterly and was essentially punted out of the race after a specifically very, very bad debate performance against Tulsi Gabbard, who, humorously enough, is now part of the Trump administration. Now, that was your party's unelected candidate for president, and you dare say that Elon Musk was not elected to anything? Since when does anyone who does not sit as the president or a representative in the House or Congress have to be elected? I suppose you could say that district attorneys might be elected, but if you are the head of a government committee or something like that, a government program, you are not elected. You are nominated or put in place by the people who are elected. All the government bureaucracy is put in place by who? By the people you elect. Even judges of the Supreme Court are not elected by the people. They are nominated by the president and approved by Congress or the House, whatever it was. I'm not an expert in the inner workings of the American government, not being a citizen myself, but the point stands. There are a few offices that you elect people to, and the head of the Department for Government Efficiency has never been one of them. In fact, it didn't exist until Trump created it. Obviously, he'd put the person in place that he chooses, and honestly, Trump and Musk campaigned together specifically about this issue. Trump promised to create this department and to put Elon Musk in charge of it. And Elon Musk promised to do exactly what he's doing now. And the American people elected Trump knowing all of this. There was no bait and switch. There was full transparency. So, in Congress, Democratic lawmakers representing the party's progressive and center swings alike have cast Musk as the chief architect, executor, and beneficiary of the new administration, portraying him as an unelected oligarch who is steamrolling the Constitution and stealing from taxpayers. Interesting because that's literally everything that people say you guys have been doing for ages, even when you're not in government, through the bureaucracy that Elon Musk is right now. What was it? Steamrolling? Yeah, that. People are actually quite happy and cheerful looking at the destruction of your bureaucratic system. Quote, in the building behind me, Elon Musk is seizing power from the American people, Senator Elizabeth Warren, the Massachusetts Democrat, told protesters outside the Treasury Department this week. He's here to seize power for himself. We're here to fight that. Yes, seize power for himself by dismantling the government and reducing his power when he is close with the elected president, literally funding the campaign to a small extent, but still, of the elected president. He's buddies with the president, and he goes, the government under my friend has to have less power. That's how I will seize power for myself against the American people. Does that make sense to you? Have you ever heard of a small government tyrant? Because I haven't. Seems nonsensical. Now, the next day, Senator Chris Murphy, Democrat of Connecticut, offered a meandering explanation on his social media account of how Musk posed a major danger to American democracy and voters. If the New York Times is saying that your explanation is meandering, I don't think you've done a good job of making an argument against Elon Musk. Of course, the guy who's running the show right now, Elon Musk, needs to take control of America's foreign policy in order to pad his pocket. How does canceling USAID line Musk's pockets? Please explain. I need a diagram. Murphy emerged as one of the most vocal opponents of the new administration. Even Representative Jared Golden of Maine, a moderate Democrat who works hard to appeal to Trump supporters, posted on X that Musk seemed to be stepping on the president's toes. My constituents and the majority of this country put Trump in the White House, not this unelected weirdo billionaire. It's true that he seems a little eccentric, a little on the spectrum, shall we say, Elon Musk. But that's no reason for him not to do what he campaigned with Trump on doing. This was part of the campaign promises of Donald Trump. I can't stress this enough. On Thursday, Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, who has urged Democrats to be judicious in their attacks on the new administration, made it clear that he saw this one as a potential winner. He described Musk as an unelected, unaccountable, out-of-control billionaire puppet master, as he rolled out legislation that he said would protect taxpayers' personal data from Musk and his team's incursions into government payment systems. Now, I'm going to stop you here and say that the Democrats had no problem working with the previous Twitter administration under the ownership of Jack Dorsey to censor the American people and spy on them. And we have the receipts for this. Of course, the government itself, through its intelligence agencies, is spying on the American people as well. But they've also done absolutely nothing to prevent other big social media giants under friendly billionaires to the Democrats from doing the exact same thing. For some reason now, however, the idea that the information on the taxpayers should be passed under, the legal authority of the president that allowed it, to the people auditing the government to try and find waste, corruption, and ideological subversion. Yeah, that suddenly seems a bridge too far, which is interesting. We have Democrats, including John Kerry and Hillary Clinton, talking about the need for ever more censorship to save democracy. And of course, we have the big donors. I'm talking here specifically about people like Bill Gates, but also there was the CEO of Oracle. Pretty much all of the big donors congregate in the World Economic Forum in Davos, and they go there and they talk specifically about the plans to create smart cities, 6G, cell networks that can spy on you in ways that you can't imagine, and I am intending to make a video about that topic too. All of that is perfectly fine, If you're a Democrat, you get money from these people, you get funding from these people, and you back everything they do. That's perfectly fine. Ask any Democrat about smart cities, they will say, sure, why not? The idea that in a smart city, all of your information, private information, and even health information, including like minute-to-minute following you around with cameras and AI, all of that going to some corporation, that's fine. However, Elon Musk finding out details about the private information of Americans as part of his purge of government corruption, not allowed. That's extremist, it's dangerous, your privacy is under attack. When did you ever care about the privacy of anyone but yourself? I don't know. Now, I'm going to bring up the idea that billionaires in politics can be quite bad. So why not Musk? Why am I criticizing Bill Gates, George Soros, Mark Zuckerberg, and many others? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they are not open and transparent with we, the people, about what they're trying to do. Elon Musk hitched his cart to Donald Trump. He gave him money publicly, he campaigned with him, he specifically said, this is my agenda, I'm hoping to back the candidate that is closest to it, and he in turn will, in return for my support, will allow me to enact some of it. Now, you, the people, have to consent to this. You have to vote for us. On the other hand, you have people like Bill Gates, who claims to be a philanthropist, despite the fact that he has an agenda for you and your family, for your health, for your freedom of movement, if you, for example, check, even for the entire planet. So things, for example, like the project he had to try and throw some sort of reflective particles into the atmosphere to reverse the global warming by redirecting essentially the heat of the sun from the earth. Yeah, they had experiments of that were stopped after public backlash, but he never campaigned on this. What about his experiments with flies, where he takes all sorts of dangerous flies that, transfer diseases and such, and he genetically modifies them, supposedly so that they're less fertile and they die out, and then he releases them in large quantities. A lot of people are very on edge about the implications of this, if this fails, or if this causes public disease spread. He never campaigned on any of this. And he gives lots of money to the Democrats, I believe $50 million just this election cycle, and that's just, on the open. There's a lot of money that is funneled through back channels that they don't have to declare. You had Zuckerberg as well. I know he gave $1 million to Trump's inauguration, but he gave tens of millions to Kamala Harris at least beforehand. And of course there's George Soros, although George Soros at least is open about being a progressive Democrat and what he wants to do, although he operates in a very shadowy manner. So a lot of his non-profit programs, it's very difficult to tell where the money is coming from, where is it going, and what specifically he's trying to do. So he's by no means a transparent individual, but at least he is openly a lefty and trying to socially engineer society. Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, and others are hiding behind the mask of a bipartisan philanthropist while being big Democrat donors and wanting to re-engineer society in their image. And I think this is an awful influence on politics. I think we should force these people to be transparent about both their goals and their means. I think that the public should be aware of the influence of these people and should be able to decide for themselves whether they back them or not. If you had Bill Gates standing on stage with Kamala Harris and going, yeah, this is what I want for society, now you can back me or oppose me, that's up to you, the people, but at least you'll know and you'll have a voice in it. That's one thing. That's what Elon Musk did. It's quite another to go behind our backs and just force the changes through the many companies that you have into society. It's also what BlackRock does, if you notice. They push DEI very, very strongly. They force it on everybody. If you do not subscribe to DEI, then your company is going to be financially impacted negatively, heavily. That's something that their CEO said openly on record. And yet the guy is an unelected, weirdo billionaire, as the Democrats said about Elon Musk. He was never in fact campaigning or even having a debate with the public. What you have is him going on some Davos group meeting or some UN group meeting, and those places are sometimes open to the public, so filmed, and there he basically tells his buddies what's the new agenda. And this goes to the public sometimes, and then we can, judge them for it. But they never actually go, for example, on a social experiment like Joe Rogan or any other large podcast. They don't take a major ad in the New York Times saying, this is how we're going to change society, what do the people think? No, you just do it behind your back. So the party of many large billionaires that have been supporting them for many years, hiddenly, and passing agendas that the public does not know and might not want. And also the party of unelected candidates, hint hint Kamala Harris, is now accusing Trump and Musk of unelected billionaires taking over the government. The hypocrisy is stunning. In my opinion, whether you like what Trump and Musk are doing or not, you have to at least accept that they campaigned on doing exactly that. They are merely fulfilling their campaign promises, and their supporters are very happy with the results. So, no, there's no buyer's remorse here. Incidentally, unlike with Joe Biden, if you remember, there were enough people in a very large poll after the election, there were enough Democrats voters who said that they would not have voted for Joe Biden if they knew about the Hunter Biden laptop story being true, to have overturned the election. So there was buyer's remorse with Joe Biden in 2020. So far, we're not seeing buyer's remorse with Donald Trump. His approval rating is as high as it's ever been, and Musk seems to be just doing what he promised. That's enough for me. Thanks for watching, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.